I have a friend with me for my video today. Speckle? Speckle is my border collie. Hey everyone, it's Nick here from Project Lucidity in a much better mood today because last night I managed to not only have quite a vivid dream, it wasn't lucid, unfortunately, but I managed to learn a fair bit from it. So the way this video is going to work is I'm going to read out the actual dream, and then I'm going to talk about some of the things that worked for me with recalling it, because with this dream, when I woke up, I actually thought I hadn't dreamt anything. And then as I laid there, something came to me and I started fleshing it out. So anyway, here's the dream. Some things in this entry I'm gonna kind of censor just because of the content. All right, so I got a text, multiple, from a customer. I won't say their name. They had discovered that they were paying a much higher amount than another member who was paying a much lesser amount on a discount. And they were very angry, making threats. I got really stressed out and I jumped on my mountain bike to ride to the dojo. I was really worried I wouldn't get there on time and that they would get even angrier if I was late. I got more and more desperate as I got a message from Lucas, one of my instructors who works for me, saying that he couldn't make it there on time either. Halfway there, however, I realized it was early in the morning and I didn't need to get there till evening. By the way, in the dream, it was literally like pre-sunrise, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 a.m. I crossed a street, Shrives and Center Road, and I reached a small park near the dojo. I coasted to a stop as I thought about what I was going to do, and my bike nearly fell over the lip of a retaining decorative platform wall. I looked to my right and there was a small circular outdoor wooden table. I was worrying about running into a gang of people when I noticed a drink bottle, a flyer, and an exercise book. When I write a gang of people, the area I run my martial arts school out of is a pretty rough area, and sometimes there are people just hanging around looking to cause trouble. Somehow I knew it was a meeting for a school's expansion, like another martial arts school. The flyer was for a kung fu school. Suddenly I look up and the dream becomes like a 1990s VHS CRT TV analog footage infomercial for the Kung Fu school. The master is there center frame demonstrating different moves. I can't really remember if he was any good or not. Somehow I end up in a pharmacy, and again it's as though the dream transforms, but this time into a clickbaity social media prank video in which a shoplifting angsty teenage girl gets pranked by a balding fat guy wearing glasses, who places a small jelly-like bead near her that showers her in bubbles as she tries to leave the store. As he chuckles and leaves, I realize that I am that man. I enter a nearby grocery store, worried about getting caught. I hide in a employee back section. It was kind of like at the back of the store. I went through these doors, and there was a corridor with different doors along it, and I enter one near the end. It's half male change rooms, like an indoor pool, and half prison for people who have been caught shoplifting. There are already a few guys in here, and more people enter as I spend more time in here. The guys that were there looked dirty, homeless, like they were wearing very raggedy clothes and they were covered in dirt and things like that. One of them in particular looks like the main character from Mr. In-Between, but he has very long hair. He's being very aggressive and has a young woman with him. She was like very fair, kind of blonde, blue eyes. She's badly beaten, battered, and bruised, and flinches whenever he raises his hands. Sometimes throughout his conversation with the other man, he hits her for no reason. When he spots me, he tries to rob me and take my backpack. At this point in the dream, I become uncharacteristically angry, hostile, aggressive, and antisocial. I brutally attack the homeless man trying to take my backpack. I get in his face, intimidating him, hitting him, and brutally leg kicking him. The woman seems thankful and attaches and clings to me like I'm some kind of savior, but I'm just as violent to her as I was to her abuser, hitting her as well. The more violent I become, the more attracted to me she seems to become. Eventually, her presence soothes me back to some baseline of sanity, and I decide to escape the store with her. We sneak out, crossing the shop floor into the front aisle. The employees even see her jumping the exit gates and assist her by opening them. I feel tense, like if we can just get a little further without getting discovered, but as we go to leave, we have to pay for something. The price is nearly $1,000. I realize I've left my backpack at the change room area. I tell the shop manager / security guard that I've left my bag in the store. And although he's fine and unsuspecting, I worry that if he realizes I was back there, he won't let me leave. Despite my telling him I can find it on my own, he accompanies me into the store. As I am trying to think fast of some way to get rid of him, the homeless guy from before exits the store, bumping into the manager. He flicks his hair and it goes in the manager's eyes. The manager scolds him, and we watch him as he leaves the store, begins to fly over the car park, and as he goes over the glass rooftop of the store, in an enormous sonic boom, he takes off like Superman. His takeoff leaves a cloudy green and purple plume of plasma rippling in the sky. So that was the end of the dream. Last night I was watching a few different YouTube videos about lucid dreaming, and I came across a series of videos. Technically, I think they were DVDs that were actually on a website, Lucidopedia. I think that's what it was called. And it was an old website that was hosted by a guy, Tim Post. He's now a doctor. I believe he runs a website now called Snooze On. But back then he ran this website / YouTube channel called Lucidopedia. And he was the first person who really taught me a lot about lucid dreaming techniques and stuff like that. His stuff is still out there on YouTube, and I was watching it last night. And one of his videos, he talks about dream recall. And here I was kind of thinking in the back of my mind, I don't really need to know this because, I don't know if you can hear, but Speckles is barking at someone out the front. Sorry. I was thinking to myself, I don't really need to hear this because I can recall my dreams. But on the other hand, I was thinking the last few days, I haven't been able to remember anything. And anyway, I was listening to it, and he says, one of the most important parts of remembering your dreams is at first lying there and asking yourself, what was I just dreaming about? What was I just doing? And often there will be something that comes up, and what you need to do is just attach to it and start working outwards. Like, all right, what happened before that, or what happened after that? And it's kind of like putting together a jigsaw. I actually wrote down in my notes here the jigsaw method of recall, because when I woke up this morning, like I was saying at the start of this video, I thought to myself, damn it, I don't remember what I was dreaming about. And then suddenly I remembered something. I think it was I remembered the fight of me getting in this homeless guy's face and really abusing him and being awful. And it was like I took that and I started adding pieces to it. What happened then? What happened then? What happened then? But then I remember the whole storyline that came before that, and I was like, oh wait, these pieces fit together. And I was writing it all down in my phone, and before too long, I had the whole dream. And it's just really funny to me because it was almost as though I was lying there thinking, what was I just dreaming about? Maybe I didn't even have a dream. And then when I rolled onto my right side, that fragment came to me. And I really do think that there's something to that, that maybe your body position, wherever you were right before you woke up, maybe sitting as still as possible, which is what Tim Post says, or if you've rolled away, getting back into that position and just thinking, I think maybe the kinesthetic cues, the postural cues of your body getting back into that position might be able to help, mnemonically with your memory. So that was the other thing that worked for me was piecing it together like a jigsaw, working, because often when we tell a story, we tell it from the beginning through to the middle and then down to the end, like in a linear way. But sometimes, because memory is so fluid, one way that you can get around that is by just attaching with what you do remember and seeing if anything expands out from that. So that really worked for me. Hopefully that helps someone else. The other thing that I've been thinking about, other than the fact that my lucid dreaming book is meant to get here today, I think it's called Exploring Lucid Dreaming by Stephen LaBerge, which I mentioned last night. The other thing that I was thinking about is, and I've heard this now a couple of times, and so that's why I'm talking about it now, is a lot of people mention the fact that instead of just setting your goal as having a lucid dream, which is a little abstract, especially if you've never had one before, some people say that you should think about why you want a lucid dream, not just like in terms of, oh, well, it would be cool. I mean, like having a goal of, this is what I want to do if I realize that I'm dreaming. And I was sitting there, I think I wrote a list of ideas. What would I do? Fly, go invisible, become a superhero, use telekinesis, be some kind of James Bond or Inception character, visit old childhood homes and explore them. And I was thinking about it, and then this morning while I was standing there at work, I realized what would be a really cool one, and I apologize to those who are averse to violence, but I was thinking to myself, I just went and saw Ballerina, which is I think the 5th installment or the 6th installment in the John Wick franchise, and I thought to myself, it would be really cool to have like a checking into the Continental experience and living out that adventure of being John Wick, fighting off hundreds and hundreds of enemies and doing like gung fu and martial arts, jiu-jitsu and judo and all sorts of cool stuff. Having almost like that Neo versus Agent Smith fight, fighting off dozens and dozens of people just with my bare hands. I thought that would be a really cool lucid experience, depending on the level of control that I could achieve in the dream. So Speckles is just sitting here with me, just listening. Hey. Anyway, thank you for watching. This has probably been my longest video yet, but this is an exciting turn of events, and I'm very happy that I remembered my dream last night. I'm hoping that now that I'm starting to put together some concrete skills in terms of remembering dreams, that I'll have more dream logs to report and hopefully begin to create lucid dream experiences. Now, that being said, the last thing before I go is I had this odd experience last night, and if you've had a lucid dream before, maybe through the WILD technique, wake-induced lucid dreaming, you might be able to fill me in, but I had this experience last night. I don't know if it was a dream or not, meaning, as far as I understand, dreams only occur during REM sleep, and your body goes through these roughly 90-minute intervals, if I remember my psychology degree correctly. But over time, the amount of time spent in REM sleep over the course of your whole sleep cycle over the night increases. And this happened as I was drifting off to sleep. It was as though I was lying on my back, and I often place a pillow against the headboard, lying flat across my eyes. And I'm lying on my back, and I remember I sort of turned my head to the left a little bit, and my mind started playing out this scene. It was almost like I was imagining it myself actively, picturing this scene. I can't remember what it was, but it began to, almost like a train, it began to pick up momentum and pick up momentum. And it was almost like I went from picturing it to simply watching it as it was unfolding in front of me without any effort. Like I was creating it without knowing and perceiving it effortlessly. And then suddenly it was like I had this moment where I went, am I dreaming? And then I immediately woke up. Like it didn't even feel like I woke up. It felt like I was already awake, but just that I was simply having a very vivid daydream. And I kind of started a little bit, and my wife had yet to come to bed at that point. So I was kind of just like, huh. And I laid back into bed. Now, I don't know if that was maybe the beginnings of some sort of wake-initiated lucid dream, but I don't think so, because I couldn't have been in REM sleep by then. I'd only been lying there for a little while, and it felt like I was still awake. Now, I'm aware that there are moments in the sleep cycle, there are certain phases or stages of sleep where if you wake up from them, you will swear black and blue that you weren't asleep. But anyway, cool. I'm gonna quickly whittle this video down a little bit. Actually, I don't even think I'm gonna edit it. I'm just gonna throw it up. I'm gonna upload this, and yeah, hopefully that book arrives sometime today. Cool. That's it. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.